Hello my loves, welcome to my first episode of my new series, No Boys Allowed. I'm going to be talking about like getting your first period or just having your period in general. This was requested by Rachel or Raquel. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say your name, but yeah, she requested that I do a series on like growing up and getting your first boyfriend, getting your first period, first bra and stuff. I'm going to zoom out because it looks like I'm naked. Might as well get comfy because I think I'm going to be talking for a while. Okay. Getting your first period is quite an interesting topic, I think. By the way, if you're a guy, especially if you go to my school and you're a guy, God, please close this window because you're going to learn a lot about me and X out of this right now. Anyway, you've probably heard about like getting your period at school and stuff, and you probably know what it's for and like why you get your period and stuff like that. But anyway, it's basically just like a lining of like blood and like gross stuff in your uterus. Okay, well basically like you release an egg like every month or so, and if you have sex and the sperm and the egg meet, then it turns into a baby and the baby lives in your period blood. But if not, then the lining just clears out and that's when you get your period. So normally people get it when they're between 9 to 16 years old, and if you haven't gotten it by the time you're 16, you should probably see a doctor because that's, I don't know, I mean, I think all my friends have it right now, but yeah. I got mine when I was 10 years old, which is quite weird. I did eat a lot of processed food as a kid, so I don't know. Most people get it around like maybe 11, 12, sometimes 13. A couple of my friends like just got theirs, but I don't know. Anyway, I was 10 years old when I got it, so if you have your period, you can imagine how freaked out I was. I remember when I first got it, I was having Chinese tutoring, and like I felt like I kind of peed a little bit, and then after my class I went upstairs and I'm like, what is this? And so I called up my friend, I called up one of my older friends, and she told me about a month before that she'd gotten it, and we were like family friends, and she's a year older, so she told me like a month before that she'd gotten hers, and she called me up, she's like, guess what, I'm a woman. And this is actually really awkward and embarrassing for me, but kind of funny, so yeah. So I called her up and like I explained the whole thing and like the color and like down to every little detail, and she's like, okay, I think you have it. And she asked me if I was kind of tired after climbing up the stairs, and I was. And normally when you get your period, sorry, I have little notes here, but normally when you get your period you're a little bit like more cranky, and you're kind of out of breath after doing things like just the littlest things like climbing stairs. Most of the time your period will last between 3 to 8 days, and mine's usually like between 3 to 5 days, because it's usually like 3 days of like bleeding, like legitimate like blood, and then the next 1 or 2 days are just like a little bit like, you know, like afterwards it's just not, you don't get as much blood. It's kind of like spotting, but not really, because blood doesn't really come out. It's more like, it's just like kind of dried. But a lot of people's usually lasts like 5 to 7 days. Anyway, when I first got mine it lasted like 5 to 7 days, but now it's pretty short, which I'm quite happy about, because let me tell you, if you have yet to get your period and you're like excited and you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get my period. No, it sucks. It is such a burden. My God. Most cycles last between 21 and 35 days, so yeah, usually it's like 28 days, but I'm actually not very sure about mine because it's kind of messed up right now, but yeah, anyway. And that just means that like, that's like the amount of time between you get the first period and then the amount of time you get the second one. And at first it's going to be a little bit irregular, and that's perfectly normal. Like if you get your first period like June 2nd and then you don't get your next one till July 15th, or you get your next one like June 27th, that's like perfectly fine. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about PMS now. This is kind of unorganized, I'm sorry. But basically what PMS is that It's called premenstrual syndrome, and you'll be kind of cranky and moody. Sometimes you might hear people say like, oh, you know, stop PMSing or something, and that they're basically referring to like you being moody and stuff because of your period, and it just, you know, you're more irritable and you get annoyed by a lot of things easily. But I mean, it's not that bad. But I mean, I think most people can tell when you're about to get your period. Like, I can tell because my boobs get kind of sore and I'm quite moody. I do get cramps also, which cramps are awful, and I get kind of bloated, and I also, like I mentioned before, I'm kind of tired. It says like fatigue is one of the symptoms, but for me it's not like, I don't know, fatigue seems kind of an intense word to describe it. Like, it's not really fatigue, it's just like you're tired. Like you get kind of tired after climbing the stairs, or, oh, and also you might notice that you start to like break out a little bit when you're like right before you're on your period or during. And for cramps, I have a list of things that help cramps. So the first one is exercise. If you like maybe go running or something, that can help your cramps a little bit. It depends on like the person, but yeah. Also, chocolate's really good. Like, it just makes you feel good inside. So I mean, I kind of just use it as an excuse to eat chocolate as well, because, you know, whatever. Also, I use this Panadol Menstrual, and these are just like I don't know, I think it's paracetamol, but then it's for your period. And these are the cutest pills ever. They're pink like this, and I keep them in my like gym bag usually because I get really bad cramps. I mean, not like, they're not that bad, but they're pretty bad, and they do hurt a lot. So I mean, if you are suffering from cramps, you can just put like something warm there, or, you know, you can have like a hot drink and take some pills or something, take some painkillers to help the pain subside. Some people get them in their lower back or behind their knees. Mine are usually just like right here in my lower abdomen. What I normally do to help the pain is I put my laptop on my stomach, so that helps. And also for bloating, try to stay away from eating salty food, because that makes you like more bloated, and then you look really fat and gross, and then you want to cry. Because whenever I get my period, I get like sad, and I'll cry like even more. Like, if I watch TV shows that have like sad parts in them, I find myself like crying a lot more. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but yeah. If you guys like feel any of the same things that I'm mentioning right now, leave them in the comments below, because I'd like to hear. I'm quite interested in this. My period's late. Am I pregnant? No. You're probably not pregnant unless you've had sex. But don't have sex, because if you have sex, you're gonna get pregnant and you're gonna die. There are a few reasons why your period might be late. You could be pregnant, but if you're not having sex, you can't be pregnant. Okay? You can't get pregnant unless you've had sex. You can't get it from a swimming pool or any other way. You have to have had intercourse in order to get pregnant. Or like IVF, but you know, that's, yeah. Okay, so some reasons could be that you're either stressed, or your eating habits are different, or like you're going through a significant amount of change, or you've just been like exercising a lot or not exercising at all. That could be a reason. I just got a Skype message. But for me, I know that before this, okay, before my like last 2 periods, it used to be around like the 14th-ish, like the middle of the month. But then I got my period 2 weeks early after my exams. So I had it like right before my graduation, and I was like so upset because I did not want to look bloated in my dress, and it was awful. I cried because obviously I was bleeding. 2 ways that you control the blood. There are probably more. There's like some kind of menstrual cup that I've heard of, but I've never like heard of anyone that I know personally using that. 2 ways to combat your bleeding are pads and tampons. This is one of my old pads, so yeah. Anyway, they just look like that. They come in a wrapper, and they look like this. I use the extra long ones, like the 30 to 35 centimeter ones, because they're really comfortable, and then they absorb a lot more, so you don't have to change them as often. But when you're getting your first period, you want to change it pretty often, like every few hours or so. So they just look like this. Some of them like don't have wings, and they just look like that. But I like the ones with wings. They're a lot better, and they're a lot more secure. And yeah, so you just peel off the sticker and you stick them on your panties and you wrap these around the back so it stays like that. Afterwards, you just rip it off and then you stick it back, and then you have like the wrapper for the next pad, and you just stick the dirty one in there and you throw it away. And for tampons, this is the U by Kotex one. These are really good. You can go, you can't get these in Asia though. These, yeah. I would suggest that you use ones with plastic applicators, not cardboard. I heard cardboard feels awful, and the ones that don't have applicators are really, really scary. So, yeah. I would suggest that on your first period you don't try using a tampon unless you're older, but I mean, I think that if I tried using a tampon like when I first got my period when I was 10 years old, I think I would have been really, really freaked out. So yeah, unless you're older, don't use a tampon for your first period. And it can hurt a little. Like, I remember at least like the first 6 times I tried, I used to be like terrified of using these because they would hurt so much. But a good way to do is to put it in while sitting on the toilet. Anyway, basically what you do is you like pull this up and you, okay, so I need a pretend vagina. Okay, God. Can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, Jesus, okay. So, I'm just gonna use this bun maker right here. I use this to make buns. I have a video on how to make the perfect ballerina bun if you'd like to see that. I'll link it in the bottom bar below. Anyway, pretend this is your vagina. And this is your tampon, right? So you gotta hold it, okay, here, I'm left-handed, so I gotta do it like this. So it's angled kind of like this, and you have to hold this like that with your 2 fingers, with your thumb and your middle finger, and with your index finger, use it to push it up. So you want to stick it into your vagina all the way up until your fingers are touching like the outside bit, and then you like push it up like that, right? Okay? And then, oops, okay. And then you pull the applicator out and you throw it away. And then, after a few hours, you want to make sure not to leave this in for more than 8 hours, otherwise you could get toxic shock syndrome, which sounds horrible, so you probably don't want it. After a few hours, maybe, I don't know, okay, less than 8 hours, you want to pull it out. So it might be really hard. Like, for me, it's really hard. And you just, like, pull it out, and you can kind of push with your body and pull with your hand. Okay, and you got it out. And then you throw it away. You flush it down the toilet. But never flush pads down the toilet. God, no. Never flush pads down the toilet. Throw away the applicators in the trash. You can throw tampons in the toilet, but nothing else, okay? Good. Now, on to swimming. Most of the time you can do everything you normally can do when you don't have your period, but for swimming it's a little bit harder. Most people I know, including myself, I don't go swimming when I have my period because it's just like uncomfortable. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to deal with that kind of. Like, the thing is, when you go swimming in the water pressure will stop the blood from coming out. But once you get out of the pool, you never know, because you might just start like gushing out all over the place, and that to me sounds very, very messy, and I don't want that to happen. So I mean, if you have like a swimming class or PE, just tell your teacher. Chances are they'll be like completely fine with it, and you can just sit out or do a dry land activity. I always tell my teachers when I have my period, and for some reason I always get them like whenever we're doing like the biathlon or like the like 50-meter like trial or whatever. So I always get it whenever we have things like that. And my PE teacher knows I'm so lazy, and he's like, oh, okay, you conveniently got it the day of the biathlon, right? And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm not lying. Normally it should be okay, and the only thing is it can be a little bit awkward, because I remember we had swimming as our first unit in PE, and I had my period, and it was the first week of school. I did not know my teacher, so I had to go into his office. He was a guy, and I go, I have my period, sorry, I can't participate today. He's like, okay, just run laps. And I walked laps. So normally if you just tell your teachers, it should be fine. As far as clothes go, don't wear your white denim shorts like while you have your period, because that's just asking for trouble. I mean, you know that if you wear your white shorts, you're gonna get your period like all over them. I mean, wear something, you know, thicker, darker, and something that, you know, might absorb it a little bit if it does leak, because I know people who have leaked on the chairs in like math class, and that just sounds really embarrassing. Just in case, if you get your period like at school or whatever, or make sure you keep some pads like in your bags. I have like a couple in my gym bag, in my school bag. I keep a little like emergency kit in my locker, and if you want to, you can bring extra panties along with you, because sometimes you don't know when you're gonna get it and then you do, and then it's really gross. But you can just do any of that if you want, but make sure, like, also if you have your period, I know they make pads for thongs, but I mean, don't wear a thong when you have your period. Just like, it's not, those things aren't really supposed to mix. I don't think they go well together. But do whatever you want. This video is really long, so I think I'm gonna go soon. But if you have any more topics that you'd like me to discuss for my new series, No Boys Allowed, or like Girl Talk, whatever, leave them in the comments below and I might do them, because I don't really have many other topics besides getting your first bra and getting your first boyfriend, but I'd rather not go into the boyfriend stuff, because that is, no, just, I don't want to discuss it on YouTube. Actually, I don't want to discuss it at all. Anyway, if you have any suggestions for what I should do next, leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe. And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Polybore. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye! Hope you liked my lovely tampon demonstration, by the way.